Can happiness after a wedding truly be complete without a journey together? What makes a simple family trip more precious than any luxury honeymoon? Watch as Ly, Huyen, and little Maya embark on their first adventure as a family. 3 days that will weave memories into their hearts forever. Stay with us to witness love in its purest form. Dawn broke gently over the highland village, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Inside their modest home, Ly was already awake, carefully folding clothes into a worn canvas bag. Huyen emerged from the bedroom, her eyes still soft with sleep, carrying Maya's favorite stuffed rabbit. "Are you excited, my love?" Ly asked, wrapping his arm around Huyen's waist. She leaned into his embrace, nodding. "I never imagined I'd have days like this, a real family trip. It feels like a dream." Maya burst from the bedroom, her small feet pattering against the wooden floor. "Mama! Papa Ly! Are we going now? Are we really going?" Ly scooped her up, spinning her around as she giggled. "Yes, little one, your very first big adventure." The morning air was crisp as they walked to the bus station, their simple luggage in hand. Neighbors waved from their doorways, offering warm wishes. "Take care of that beautiful family, Ly," called Mrs. Lan from her vegetable stand. On the bus, Maya pressed her face against the window, her breath fogging the glass as she watched the landscape transform. Terraced rice fields gave way to misty mountains, their peaks touching the clouds. Huyen sat between Ly and Maya, her hand finding Ly's, their fingers intertwining naturally. "Look, Maya, see those houses on the hillside?" Ly pointed. "People live there among the clouds. Like angels, Papa Ly?" Maya's eyes widened with wonder. "Just like angels, sweetheart." The 3-hour journey felt both endless and too short. Huyen watched her daughter's fascination with everything. The winding roads, the pine forests, the waterfalls cascading down rocky cliffs. This child who had known so much hardship was now discovering beauty and joy. Tears pricked Huyen's eyes, but these were tears of gratitude. Ly noticed and gently squeezed her hand. No words were needed. He understood. They arrived at the small highland town as afternoon sun filtered through the trees. Their guest house was humble, a wooden structure with a balcony overlooking the valley. But to Huyen, it was a palace. "Our room has a big bed," Maya announced, bouncing experimentally on the mattress. "Careful, little one." Huyen laughed, a sound that still surprised her with its lightness. After settling in, they ventured into the town's main street. The air smelled of grilled corn and fresh herbs. Vendors called out cheerfully, selling hand-woven scarves and local honey. Maya tugged at Ly's hand, stopping at every stall, enchanted by colorful trinkets and strange fruits she'd never seen. Ly bought her a small wooden flute carved with traditional patterns. "For you to remember this day," he said, kneeling to her level. Maya threw her arms around his neck. "I love you, Papa Ly." Huyen turned away, overwhelmed by emotion. Her daughter had suffered so much. The abandonment, the hunger, the uncertainty. Now she was calling another man Papa. And it was the most natural, beautiful thing in the world. For dinner, they found a small family restaurant, where the owner, a kind, elderly woman, served them chicken cooked with lemongrass and mountain vegetables. Maya tried everything, making faces that sent her parents into fits of laughter. "This is spicy," she declared, fanning her mouth dramatically. "Just like your personality," Ly teased, offering her water. As darkness fell, they sat on their guest house balcony. The valley below sparkled with scattered lights. Mountains rose like silent guardians around them. Maya had fallen asleep against Huyen's shoulder, clutching her new flute. "Thank you," Huyen whispered. "For what?" Ly asked, though he knew. "For this. For her. For being the man who stayed when everyone else left." Her voice cracked. "I spent so long believing I didn't deserve happiness, that Maya and I were meant to suffer for my mistakes." Ly pulled her close, careful not to wake Maya. "You never made mistakes, Huyen. You were just unlucky in who you trusted. But those days are over. This..." He gestured to the sleeping child, the starlit valley, the peace surrounding them. "This is your life now. Our life." Huyen rested her head on his shoulder, feeling the steady rhythm of his breathing. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to believe in tomorrow. Morning arrived with mountain mist swirling around their balcony. Maya woke them by playing her wooden flute, off-key but enthusiastic. Day pretended to cover his ears while Huyen laughed, pulling their daughter into bed for cuddles. "Big day today," Dee announced. "We're going up to the mountain peak." "How?" Maya asked, her eyes bright with curiosity. "You'll see," he winked. After a breakfast of sticky rice and grilled pork at a street vendor, they made their way. Cable car station. Maya's excitement turned to apprehension when she saw the cabin swaying gently in the breeze. "It's so high, Papa Day," she whispered, gripping his hand tighter. Dee lifted her into his arms. "I've got you, little one. I'll never let you fall. Do you trust me?" She nodded against his chest. As their cabin began its ascent, Maya buried her face in Dee's shoulder. Huyen sat across from them, her own heart racing, not from fear of heights, but from the stunning beauty unfolding before her eyes. "Maya, look," she said softly. "You're missing something magical." Slowly, Maya peeked out. Below them, the world had transformed into a painting. The town grew smaller, revealing patterns of rooftops and winding streets. The valley stretched endlessly, painted in every shade of green. Clouds drifted below their feet like gentle ghosts. "Mama, we're flying!" Maya's fear melted into wonder. Day caught Huyen's gaze over their daughter's head. In that moment, suspended between earth and sky, Huyen felt something shift inside her. The weight she'd carried for so long, the shame, the fear, the belief that she was somehow less worthy of love, began to dissolve like the morning mist. "I never knew the world could be this beautiful," she said. "Neither did I," Day replied. But he was looking at her, not the view. At the summit, the air was thin and cool. Maya ran ahead on wobbly legs, laughing as the wind whipped her hair. Day and Huyen followed hand in hand, their hearts full. A photographer approached, offering to take their picture. They posed together. Day with his arm around Huyen, Maya in front of them, all three grinning at the camera. A simple family photograph, but to Huyen, it was proof. Proof that this was real, that she belonged somewhere, that her story hadn't ended in tragedy. They explored the summit's walking paths, Maya stopping every few steps to examine interesting rocks or wildflowers. Dee taught her to identify different types of pine trees, his voice patient and warm. Huyen watched them, her husband and her daughter, and felt her heart might burst from fullness. "Papa Day, why are mountains so big?" Maya asked, tilting her head. "Because they've been growing for millions of years, little one. They're patient and strong, just like your mama." Huyen's eyes misted over. Even in simple moments, Dee found ways to heal the wounds she still carried. They ate lunch at a small restaurant perched on the mountainside. Grilled fish caught from highland streams, fresh vegetables, and fragrant rice. Maya declared everything the best food ever, making the elderly server chuckle and sneak her an extra sweet cake. The afternoon brought more exploration. They wandered through a small market where local artisans sold woven baskets and embroidered textiles. De bought Huyen a scarf in deep blue, the color of the evening sky. When he draped it around her shoulders, she felt like royalty. For Maya, he found a small doll dressed in traditional Highland clothing. "For you to remember the strong women of these mountains," he told her. As they descended in the cable car, Maya was braver now, pressing her face against the window. "I can see our house," she claimed, though it was impossible from this distance. "Maybe with your heart you can," Huyen said, kissing her daughter's head. Back in town, they visited a small craft cooperative where women demonstrated traditional weaving. Maya sat mesmerized, watching the shuttle fly back and forth through the threads. One woman let her try, guiding her small hands. "She's a natural," the weaver said to Huyen. "Your daughter has gentle hands. She has a gentle heart too," Huyen replied, thanks to the good people in her life. That evening, their guest house owner had prepared a small fire pit in the courtyard. Several guests gathered around, sharing stories and songs. Someone produced a guitar. Maya fell asleep in Dee's lap as music drifted into the starlit night. Huyen sat beside them, the blue scarf wrapped around her shoulders, watching sparks rise toward the heavens. A year ago, she'd been homeless, desperate, believing her life was over at 30. Now she sat by a fire with her husband and daughter, surrounded by strangers who felt like friends, in a place that felt like a dream. Dee's free hand found hers. "Happy?" he asked simply. "Beyond words," she whispered back. Their last morning dawned too quickly. Maya woke them early, not wanting to waste a single moment of their final day. "Can we see one more beautiful place, Papa Day? Please." Dee had already planned for this. "There's a waterfall nearby. Want to visit?" The walk took them through a forest path, pine needles soft beneath their feet. The sound of rushing water grew louder with each step. When they emerged into a clearing, Maya gasped. A cascade of white water tumbled down moss-covered rocks into a crystal pool. "It's like magic," she breathed. Dee spread out a blanket on a flat rock near the stream. Huyen unpacked the simple lunch they'd bought from a morning vendor: banh mi sandwiches and fresh fruit. Maya immediately kicked off her shoes and waded into the shallow edges of the pool, squealing at the cold water. "Careful, sweetheart," Huyen called, but her voice was relaxed, trusting. Day and Huyen sat side by side, their feet dangling in the water, watching Maya play. The sound of the waterfall created a peaceful rhythm, like nature's own lullaby. "I've been thinking," Dee began, his voice thoughtful, "about our future, about the kind of life I want to give you both." Huyen turned to him, curious. "I know I'm just a dock worker. I can't give you luxury or trips to faraway places, but I promise you this." He took her hand. "I'll give you moments like these. Simple happiness, security, a love that doesn't waver when times get hard." Huyen's throat tightened. "Dee, you've already given me everything that matters. Before you, I had nothing, not even hope. You taught me that happiness isn't about what you have, but who you have beside you." She looked at Maya, now building a small dam with pebbles. "My daughter is laughing again. She calls you Papa, without hesitation. She sleeps peacefully at night. Do you know what that means to a mother who once couldn't feed her child?" Day pulled her close, and they sat in comfortable silence, watching the water flow endlessly downstream. Maya ran over, her hands cupped carefully. "Look, I caught a tiny fish. Can we keep it?" "The fish belongs to the stream, little one," Dee explained gently. "Just like we belong to our village. But we can remember it, can't we?" Maya considered this, then carefully released the fish back into the water. "Goodbye, little fish. Thank you for visiting me." Huyen's heart swelled. Her daughter was learning not just happiness, but wisdom and kindness too. After lunch, Maya gathered wildflowers, weaving them into a messy crown. She placed it on Huyen's head, then made one for Day. "Now you're both king and queen," she announced proudly. They took photos with Dee's old phone. Silly poses, serious poses, loving poses. Each click captured not just images, but the feeling of this perfect day. As afternoon shadows lengthened, they packed their belongings and began the walk back to town. At the bus station, Maya climbed onto Dee's shoulders, waving at the mountains as if saying goodbye to friends. On the journey home, Maya fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from 3 days of adventure. Her head rested on Dee's lap, her new doll clutched tight. Huyen leaned against Dee's shoulder, his arm around her. "Same time next year?" he whispered. "Every year," she promised. "For the rest of our lives. 3 days, 72 hours. Such a small measure of time, yet it contained infinity." For Ly Tu Huyen and Maya, this simple journey to the highlands became more than a trip. It became the foundation of their family story. They didn't need expensive hotels or exotic destinations. They found their paradise in a modest guest house on a mountain peak beside a waterfall. They discovered that happiness lives in shared moments. A child's laughter echoing through a cable car, a father's patient teaching, a mother's healing heart. Maya returned home with a wooden flute, a doll, and memories that would shape her understanding of what family means. Huyen came back transformed, finally believing she deserved the love and peace she'd found. Day had given his new family what they needed most. Not material wealth, but the treasure of his presence, his consistency, his unwavering love. This is the Life Single family. Proof that broken stories can find beautiful new chapters, that second chances are real, and that the greatest adventures require only love, trust, and the courage to begin again. Thank you for journeying with us. Subscribe to Life Single for more stories of hope, healing, and the extraordinary power of ordinary love. Like and share if this touched your heart. Until next time, may you find your own simple happiness.